what do you think would cause the faster civil war? Strict gun control or penis control?
For sure,
Control.
penis
No
control.
question.
Yeah.
So would you just have, like, as soon as you're born, you get like a chastity belt on you, and then, you know, once you pass the test, the government will hand you the key
That was
and a condom or
quick.
something, you know, I don't know. Welcome to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Rob. I'm joined with me and my friends Lou
What's up, guys?
and Mike.
Boat is sinking. Can't make a decision.
All right, well, hopefully, Mike, you have more decisiveness on what our icebreaker is this week. So we kick this off each podcast with an icebreaker.
Dude, I've just got so used to you pulling them off the Discord, I haven't given this a second's thought.
I used them all up. Which, yes, you can join our Discord and give us an icebreaker, and you get some topper points, which the winner will get a prize at the end of the year. Probably like a 3-cent prize, but it's still a prize. We're not making any money yet.
Oh, like, what?
Like 3 cents, you know, like a monetary value.
Like 50 cent?
No.
Are they getting stock in our company?
Sure, you can get 3 cents in the Top Podcast stock. Be written on a piece of paper.
Okay, here we go. If you magically woke up and had one extra room, this is going to be a weird question for Rob because he's moving. But Rob, pretend you weren't about to be moving. If you woke up one day and had one extra room in your house or apartment, what would you do with it? I mean, good answer.
You watched that on Netflix? Yeah, you watched that show on Netflix, Lou?
Oh, I did not. No, I don't mess with Netflix anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
We have wallpaper from that show. Just one wall, but looks really good.
You have wallpaper from the Sex Dungeon show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's tasteful. It wasn't my choice. Mackenzie liked it.
It's just schlongs everywhere.
Just gimps, just like repeated gimps.
It's from Pulp Fiction, you know.
This is our house. This is the wall of penises.
Mike, what would you do? So we got lose.
Oh, no, not mine. Nope.
It's in the pod, so.
It is in the pod. Just because something's on the internet doesn't make it true.
What I would do is I would make myself a den/office. So I'd probably get a 6-foot lifetime like folding table, put it right in the closet. I'd probably take the TV off the wall and put it in the closet, mount it on the wall so it's not resting on the 6-foot table. Probably get a new docking station so I could have multiple monitors. And then just a chair and a record player and some shelving. A couple lamps. Yeah.
I would probably... It would either be like a den or if we're just playing make-believe. I would love like a really good workout room. Just
Ooh,
like,
that would be really cool.
really nice equipment.
See, I want to actually use the room. And everyone knows once you buy workout equipment for your home, you never use it.
I mean, if I spent like $2,000, my wife would lock me in that room. So I recently just canceled my gym membership, and that was the most awkward thing I've ever done. So it would be nice if I never had to do that again.
You go into another gym, you switching sides.
Go
to LA
I don't know
Fitness
yet.
now.
I
rolling
probably
in the
will not
dough?
do it like this. It's between like this really small gym or Anytime Fitness, but I'm not 100% sure yet.
Lou is a free agent. If any gym wants to sponsor the show and give him a lifetime membership, hit us up.
Dude, I'll tell you what,
yeah.
I've been going to Dwight Schrute's gym for muscles. Unstoppable. It's the best. You should check it out.
Funny for somebody.
That was actually an enjoyable sketch. I'll give him that one.
Okay.
I laughed at it. I gave one singular. Ha! It's pretty good for that show.
Got most of the time. Yeah.
Parks and Rec though, still got me. Still laughing. Man, because right now with just my wife and I, we each have like our own office and such, like our art room. So I don't know. Like can I do like I'll do like a smoke room, you know, like a community.
Ooh, nice.
You just sit down, nice leather couches, you know, have some. I don't even smoke that often, but it'd just be fun to have, you know, have a humidor in there and some ventilation. And just it's a good place to go and have conversations. It's almost a sitting room. A sitting room. There we go.
I thought you meant smoking meat.
Hey, there's the ventilation system in there, so you know.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. In my head, I was like, "Oh, he wants
up the brisket.
Yeah,
Light up a pipe.
I'll do both, you know, indoors so I can do it all year round.
Yeah. So when Joe and Mackenzie went down to Tennessee early, I'm waiting until the lease is up. And so essentially I have an extra room. The trouble was it kind of smelled a little bit like pee in Joe's room.
You had to find out where it was.
Well, I carpet cleaned it, and then I also just brought in all of my baggies of tobacco that were in the best smelling drawer in the entire house and just put them on the shelf. And now it just smells faintly of like unburnt pipe tobacco. And it's wonderful.
Well, Mike, you picked the topic for this week. What are we talking about?
So this week, I just wanted to talk about a variety of things. And so the topic I picked was the top 5 things that you would die on a hill for that don't really matter. Another way of saying that is really, really tiny hot takes that you take very seriously, or things that you're determinedly stubborn about, whichever one floats your boat. And I go first because it's my week, isn't it?
Yep, that's how that works.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on, Audible. I originally had this whole big thing about how a top sheet is a must in your sleeping arrangements, but I think that's probably a largely agreed upon take, so I'm not really dying on that hill.
Which one's a top sheet? I don't know.
So there's like the fitted sheet that goes on the mattress, and then there's the sheet that goes between you and the other blankets.
I usually just rock with the comforter when I was a bachelor myself.
So yeah, I've actually reversed back because we had been doing because we both kind of like were screw it, forget the cupcake thing.
Well, now we want to talk about cupcakes. You got 2 big guys on this show. You can't just bring up cupcakes and walk.
I'm not a big
back.
cupcake fan, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, there's better desserts.
But yeah, we had switched to we would each just curl up in our own blanket because we wanted different amounts of blanket, and then we both were would want to curl up and kind of blanket hog it up. And so we were just like, screw it. We can just pick the blankets we want, curl up in those, and plus never make the bed. It's just one giant pile of blankets. But then when she moved out, I was like, I kind of miss a top sheet. And I threw a top sheet on the bed, and I was like, oh, man, this is the height of luxury. So there's really not a lot of people who disagree with me.
Yeah.
Top sheet, man.
My marital advice for that is just get a comforter or whatever at one size up. So there's plenty of room you can each cozy on up. I guess if you got a king size, then yeah.
Yeah, we're already rocking the king.
California king, maybe? Just swimming
I was
in
still
it.
getting shafted. I don't know. No matter the size of the blanket, I sometimes wake up cold.
Mine's more about mattress space. I just always lose space, as the night goes on. Becca said, you want to get king size bed? I'm like, there'd be no difference. I have the same amount of space.
I have noticed that even it's just me in a king size bed, and I still take up the 20% on my side, and the other 80 just goes unused now.
When I have the bed alone, I'm right in the middle, living the high life.
I've just got so used to sleeping on my side that I was just like, well, just gonna sleep where I just want to fall asleep. Wasted real estate doesn't really make a difference at that point.
Where are you at, Lou, in the whole comforter top sheet debate?
I don't know, man. I hate fitted sheets. I hate putting them on. I hate the system. I hate the American system of sleeping. I think we could do better.
Are Europeans any different, or any other continents?
Don't know.
I was gonna say,
No idea.
I can't imagine that's an American versus other country thing.
I just hate it. Not a fan.
If you guys have weird or I guess normal sleeping blankets, let us know if they're different from the fitted sheet, the top sheet to comforter.
The only other country I've stayed in where it was a hotel was Mexico, and at the very least, Mexico also had fitted sheet, top sheet comforter. So
yeah, the other countries I've been to, I believe have the same thing, but I wasn't looking. I wasn't really peeking under the bed except for a quick glance for bed bugs.
Yeah, and you don't really notice oh, this is the same. It's not something you really process. It's just oh yeah.
Well, Lou, what's your number 5?
Yeah, this is the only one that is at a borderline I care about, don't care about. I've had multiple debates with people, and I think this is a hot topic for people. So I don't know, just fair warning.
Politics.
Kind of politics. I think that if you're gonna have a kid, I think it should be mandatory that you take some sort of class. I think if we have to take a test to drive a car, I think you should have some sort of test to take care of a kid. And I will say, I'm not a parent. I don't truly care either way. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of crappy parents. I've worked with a lot of bad parents, and maybe a little bit of therapy and a little bit of just guidance could go a long way. So
So would you just have like as soon as you're born, you get like a chastity belt on you, and then once you pass the test, the government will hand you the key
That was
and a condom or
like-
something. I don't know.
This is why I don't truly care, because it doesn't make sense, and Americans would lose their lid if you had to tell them where and when to put your penis into things.
What do you think would
But-
what do you think would cause the fastest civil war? Strict gun control or penis control?
For
penis
sure,
control.
penis
no
control.
question.
Yeah, I just generally think, I don't know, I just like, your kid is not doing well. Like, there's over 1,200 kids that get shaken baby syndrome a year, and that's just when there's nothing wrong with the kid, you're just shaking it until it stops crying. So I think maybe a little bit of guidance could help, maybe a little bit of support, and then you're creating a community because you're working with other parents, and it takes the village to raise a child. That's all I'm saying.
I see where you're coming from, and I agree that it makes sense. Like, if you could snap your fingers and make magic happen. But I definitely, practical side, it's like there's no way to make that happen. Yeah. But if there was a way to do it, I get it. It's like disarming nuclear warheads. It's like, look, if I could snap my fingers and get rid of all of them, that'd be great. I'd do that.
But then
no one country is gonna.
You'd have to get rid of your own warhead then. And Mike,
Exactly.
I don't think
No
you want to
one
get rid of your
like-
warhead.
I also think that it costs like, what, $40,000 to have a child. I don't know if that number is right or not.
I know, like through college, it's $250,000.
No, just to birth the child,
Oh.
Robert.
Not if you're poor. The government pretty much covers it.
But
I
you
mean,
still
The
have
trick
to.
is to both be poor and responsible, which is a
Doesn't cost
very
anything.
delicate line to walk. Trust me.
Doesn't cost anything to use your bed, or your bathtub.
Oh gosh.
I'm just
You don't
giving you
remember
options. Money Man Rob.
You don't remember paying anything, Mike, when your child was born?
Nope.
Okay. I thought there's usually, all of my friends, they've had to pay something.
I think what
I
I
thought-
heard was like $7,000 or $8,000 after insurances and all that.
Yeah, that's what I've heard in that ballpark as well. But
Yeah, we didn't pay
Jeez
anything.
Louise,
but we
that's like a
made
down payment on a house.
we made very, very, very little money when Joe was coming up. So I think we qualified for some stuff.
nice. I also think that, if you finish a class, you should be paid. I think you should get some money.
Get compensated for your
I
time.
think you should get compensated for your time.
That could be one
Maybe
way.
$7 or $8,000.
I was gonna say
perhaps?
that's what you could do. If you take a class or you pass the class, you get free hospital care and all that. But if you don't, then even if you're poor, you get that bill.
I don't know. That's generally. I mean, a hotter topic is that I think you should be tested to vote to vote. But I'm not going to touch that.
Man, I got no problem with that either. The only problem is it's who gets to set the test.
I wouldn't do tests. I would say like 25, you can take it. Or if you're in the military, like if you join the military 18, bam, you can vote. But if you're not, then like 25, because 18. I was stupid at 18-year-olds. I shouldn't have been voting.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no.
Yeah. I think if you can't pass like if you don't know basic government, just like the absolute basic government.
There goes 80% of the country.
That's all I'm saying. But I won't touch that because I know a lot less of that. But I know I know children and I know parents, and some of y'all need to take a class. That's all I'm saying.
My number 5 is somewhat similar in a sense that it's like impossible to enforce. But I believe everyone should have to work in the customer service environment or industry, whether that's restaurant or retail. It blows my mind how people just think you're incompetent, especially as like a host, and you're like not seating a section. Like, what about all those open tables? It's like, oh, you're right, I didn't see those. Let me just put you. There's no one that works there, you dummy. And like people are just so rude when it comes to the food and sales and all that. It's like, man, if they knew what it was like behind like the counter, serving, I think it'd be a lot more pleasant experience for the workers and all that. And I think it would humble a lot of people. Are you really a worker until you've been cussed out in the kitchen? I don't think so. And
I would rather not use my penis than work any of those jobs. Just wanna put that
Wow,
out there.
that's a hot take. Comment down below. Which would you rather?
That's a tough one,
I
honestly.
mean, not forever. Of
No,
course.
it'd be like a year, 6 months to a year. You just got to work it, get that experience here. It's like a forced conscription into the restaurant industry or sales.
Is it where is it? It's somewhere in the Middle East. Is it Israel where like you have to do a certain, like everybody has to do a certain amount of time in the military.
Yeah, and Israel's one of them.
Yeah, like same thing, but you got to go work at Chili's. It's the only way they're gonna stay staffed.
Only Chili's though. Government-run Chili's.
That's true, because if the rich people go to like the nice posh restaurants, and they're probably just as much of a-holes there, but I just feel like you're making more money there.
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. Like if I'm working in like a fancy downtown steakhouse, right, where the average bill, like, because the average bill at Chili's is probably like, I don't know, $60 for 2 or 3 people, probably a little higher now. But you go somewhere where the average bill is in the $200, $300+ $100, you're paying to be an asshole. It's part of the, like, you get to expect.
Yeah, you could degrade me for that,
Yeah.
Belittle me, please, Daddy. I mean.
Whoa.
I've made my decision. I never want to use my penis again.
No, let's not even do Chili's. Let's do. They have to work in a Church's Chicken in Detroit. That one that we used to drive by Lou's old work. That I wanted to stop in, but Lou told me not to.
That sounds like a bad idea.
I mean, Robert almost got his truck stolen.
It's true.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
My moped wouldn't last a day.
No, it would literally, somebody would literally pick it up.
As soon as you got off, there'd be someone hopping on.
I wouldn't even get off, and I'd just turn the ignition off, and someone would just pick it up and keep.
I just imagine, like, if you were like a rich person, like, oh, look, they got the valet out, going quick.
I mean, I have done my time, so I just
what? You were in prison?
Good to know.
Weekends or all the way through?
All the way through. All the way through, baby.
Mike, what is your number 4?
This is going to sound like a joke, but it's very, very serious. My number 4 hot take that I'm willing to die on a hill over, but is ultimately unimportant, is that Will Ferrell is still overrated. F*** you, Kyle.
Boo.
Even listening to this right now.
Boo.
Well, not right now.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But other people are, and I still think that guy is wildly overrated.
So,
Go check
cupcakes?
out our last episode.
Cupcakes? What was your cupcake take?
My cupcake take is that when you bite into a cupcake, all you taste is the frosting, and the frosting's not that good. You should D'Angelo Vickers that. Spit it out. You don't need it. Will Ferrell, overrated. He played D'Angelo Vickers in The Office. Yeah, you're not connecting those dots. It was just cake when he did it, but the point stands. It wasn't that funny because he's overrated. And also, you don't need cake. Spit it out. Okay. I did that today, by the way. This is.
I think that the horse has been beaten enough, the dead horse.
Oh, yeah, we don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but it is a hill I'm willing to die on, and this was the perfect way to illustrate that.
If all you taste is the frosting on a cupcake, it's not a very good cupcake. Like,
I agree.
If you get, like, oh, man, I love some, like, red velvet cupcakes. Those are my favorite.
Oh.
Yes, somebody at my job makes these little Cookie Monster cupcakes, and they're super cute. It's a vanilla cupcake, blue frosting, googly eyes, and then half a chocolate chip cookie coming out of the where the mouth would be.
Listen,
yeah,
I think I've seen some donuts like that.
But all you could taste was the blue frosting.
Did it taste like blue?
No, it just tasted like sugar frosting fakeness. It was disgusting.
Swing and a miss.
Looked fantastic, but yeah, it wasn't for me.
It's all about getting pics for the gram nowadays.
Exactly.
Well, Lou, what's your number 4?
If you put a negative comment online with no reason to back it up, I'm assuming you like the smell of your own farts. Go to therapy. You're not mad at McDonald's. You're mad at your parents. That's how I feel.
That makes sense.
I know that there's people out here that's like literally their job. They make fake accounts and they crap on people constantly. And you know what? I kind of respect that a little bit, I think you're lonely.
Where are these people and how do we get them to comment on our podcast?
I don't know, man. I'm a sensitive soul and they say some pretty mean things. So
we need engagement, man.
If you have nice things to say about Lou, put it in the comments.
Please, yes, nothing mean, because I will cry.
You can tear me to pieces, and if you pay us $200 or $300, Rob will even enjoy you tearing him to pieces.
Money man Rob.
I mean, I agree somewhat. I think like the whole like posting anonymously has definitely made people more bold online. If like they were somehow tied, like if everyone had all their online stuff tied to them, I think the internet would be much more civil.
I think so too, and I think it's one thing to make fun of somebody, and I get that it's fun to make fun of people, but I think with businesses, I won't go to a business if there's bad reviews. Like, there's so many places out there to try. Why would I go to a place that just like has bad reviews? And if a place has bad reviews because the food sucks, or the product sucks, or the service sucks, that's one thing. But if you're just mad because, I don't know, X, Y, and Z, you're a weirdo, and go to therapy.
See, I'm the opposite. I'd rather you trash corporations and companies than people. And that's coming from the money man, Lou, so maybe you gotta get your values realigned.
Like, yes, like I don't really care if you trash McDonald's, right? But I do care if you trash like a small mom and pop.
Yeah, mom and pop, I get that.
Yeah, like everybody, no matter how bad the McDonald's is, people are not looking at reviews on McDonald's. If you are, you're a psychopath.
My number 4 is this is a very niche one, but we all know that when it comes to video gaming, the best way to play modern games is on a PC. Now, along with that, there's a whole subsect of people they call it the PC master race. They're very proud of PC. And the whole caveat is they will look down on you if you bought a pre-built PC. And my hill that I'll die on is that it's okay to buy a pre-built PC. Not everyone has to make their own PC. And yes, I'm sure it's very useful, and you can probably troubleshoot your PC a lot better than someone who doesn't. How's that going, Lucian? But some people just don't have the time, or that's not how their hobbies are. They just, they don't, for whatever reason, they don't want to, and that's perfectly fine. Let people enjoy, getting their stuff however they want. Just because they didn't spend the time to make it doesn't make them less of a gamer or less of a PC enthusiast, but less of a person just because they decided to go online and buy it and make sure everything was built for them.
Who hurt you, Robert?
Nothing. It's just an online discourse. I see a lot of hate coming towards people that bought a pre-built PC. And I'm standing up for those guys.
Double pre-built. I 100% agree. I would love to have a really high-end PC. More and more lately, actually. I don't know what graphics card to get, what, all that stuff. And I'm not particularly interested in researching it. And then I'm not particularly interested in putting it all together. I'd much rather just be like, is that a good PC? Yes? Great, send it to my house. Have some money.
Yeah, and you're supporting small businesses. Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing, but you're supporting someone else is living, I'm not trying to take away from them.
Yeah. Now, I will say it does. I feel that it makes me far less of a person for doing it that way.
No.
And I should be judged. But I'm just...
What?
So go ahead, judge Michael for wanting a pre-built PC in the comments.
You just have a kink that you're just trying to get itched. That's what it is. You want people to talk crap about you.
Whoa.
So
that joke is about Rob. Let's keep it there where it's true.
Lou, do you feel far superior than the plebs that bought a PC since you built one?
No, it was more of a me and my wife built it together, and so it was fun and cute, and she did it for my birthday. But yeah, my PC crashes now. So, as it was fun, I can't finish Baldur's Gate because if it crashes one more time, I'm going to pull my hair out. So, pros and cons. I look at it fondly, but and it's cheaper.
It is
to build your own PC versus getting a pre-built.
Oh, see, that makes a difference.
It's cheaper, but then you also how many hours you willing to put in, Mike? Because it's also a time, money thing. I think for some people.
Yeah. How long does it take to build your does you just plug everything in, or you have to solder and stuff?
So, to be fair, some of it was already built because my cousin gave me...
just be quiet then. It doesn't. You lost it. You didn't fully build your PC. You're out.
I could have lied, but I would be honest.
We appreciate your honesty.
We still rebuilt it. I personally don't think it's a long time, but tomato.
Yeah, I think most of it would be coming especially if you're new, researching it and learning everything.
Yes, but YouTube is a beautiful place, and there's a ton of great videos that me and my wife watch together. I don't think it'll take long.
Or you could buy there's a PC builder simulator, which I'm sure would also feel like video game way. And I know you're a tactile learner, so that might help as well.
That might. It's starting to sound complicated.
Are we pitching? Do you want us to keep pitching this to you?
No, at this point, I'm once again sold on just spending the extra money so I don't have to do it. I have enjoyed going back and forth.
It does seem.
I feel like I made an informed decision.
It's like the prison, It's like he doesn't know. Can't decide whole year or weekends. Mike,
Yeah.
what's your number 3?
People need to stop citing Mike Tomlin's Super Bowl in an attempt to argue that he is a good coach. For you non-football, non-Steelers people, Mike Tomlin is the coach of the Steelers, and he won his one and only Super Bowl very shortly after becoming the head coach of the Steelers.
Against the Arizona Cardinals.
It was a great game, and it was awesome, and I'm very glad we won that game. However, I'm going to take you back a little ways. Early 2000s, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing the Oakland Raiders in the Super Bowl. Totally different era. And Tampa Bay just blows the doors off Oakland. Now, the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time, John Gruden, who's pretty widely accepted at this point to not be that great of a coach. But he won a Super Bowl. And you know how he won a Super Bowl? He won it by inheriting a team that was coached the previous year by Hall of Fame coach Tony Dungy, who, in hindsight, is an amazing coach. Mike Tomlin came in and picked up a star-studded roster that had been coached by Coach Cowher, also a Hall of Famer. And I believe Bruce Arians was his offensive coordinator. I could have coached that team to a Super Bowl. It is not a valid argument for him being a good coach. And he just keeps, like, the whole... I can't stand that Mike Tomlin gets praised because he's never had a losing season.
But he's tied many.
Oh my goodness, all he's done for the last few years is just mediocre season after mediocre season that just barely counts as not a losing season. And people are like, he's an amazing coach. And I'm like, he's not a bad coach. I would even say he's a good coach. But the Super Bowl, something people point to in that argument, and I do not approve.
Again, not everyone can have Dan Campbell as their team's head coach, Mike. It's okay.
I don't need to have Dan Campbell. It would be nice. I do really like Dan Campbell. And
Mike,
I don't dislike Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the better coaches in the league.
Sure, you don't get heart attacks on 4th down because you don't know what they're going to do.
That is true. They're going to punt every single time. But yeah, it bugs me that people use that to try and argue, like, well, he's a good coach. He won a Super Bowl. It's like, yes, but it was really kind of just set up for him to do.
Well, Lou, what's your number 3?
Short and sweet. All pizza's good, like how all minerals. Mineral?
Mineral?
All pizza's good, like how mineral. How do you say mineral?
Marital?
Marital. Okay.
Oh.
All pizza's good, like how all
Marital.
marriage sex. Marriage sex is good. All pizza's good, like how marriage sex is good.
Marital. There you go.
Marital.
The only reason I knew that is because you texted us your list earlier.
I know. All marital.
I do have some follow-up questions, but do you have I'll let you talk first, but
I absolutely love pizza. Pizza is probably my favorite food. I truly am not an idiot. I know that there are awesome pizzas out there, and there are some like 7-Eleven pizzas.
Okay, whoa! Don't knock on the 7-Eleven pizzas. They can hit.
I'm sorry, Robert, I forgot.
It's like a Little Caesars. There's a certain point or like a certain situation where that can slap.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying is that, like, I cannot say all cheeseburgers are good. Like, I've had some really bad cheeseburgers where I would just be like, I don't want to eat this. But I've never had a bad pizza.
Have you ever tried to have a keto pizza? Let me tell you.
Is that even considered a pizza at that point? Because
that's what I was wondering what that was, because like there was some legislation that you can't call non-dairy stuff milk because there's no milk in it. So I was wondering what you consider pizza. There's like gluten-free and all that stuff. Like what?
No. No like pizza burgers, no fake pizza, like true, just normal pizza. I think once you start messing with it, like a breakfast pizza is not an actual pizza.
Yeah,
just because you put it in the name.
It's got the regular, the
stick's starting
bread.
to fall apart.
No, it's got the regular bread. You got some sauce usually, and then
no.
Toppings.
I am talking tomato. I am talking a plain crust, tomato base, a cheese, and then maybe a topping.
So barbecue pizza isn't real pizza then?
Pause. It's my turn.
Go for it.
Let me have a crack at this. If I understand, you're saying that all pizza is good in the same way that only having missionary sex with your wife is good.
I don't just have missionary sex with my wife.
That's what your pizza toppings sound like.
Huh?
Buffalo chicken pizza, pretzel crust with the cheese sauce pizza.
That one.
Those are all. Listen, those are all good pizzas too. But
you just said tomato sauce only.
Yeah,
The
that's what I'm
Slop.
Slop.
what I'm this is not the situation. And I am not against those pizzas.
Call up Kyle. Let's see
All
what he
I'm
says.
saying is that when those things are combined, it's always good. I've had a bad barbecue pizza, a barbecue chicken pizza.
So it's not all pizzas are good.
No. Those are not what I consider a pizza all the time. Those are a pizza, but not what I'm talking about.
They are pizza, but they're not a pizza?
Like how is Christianity, but it's not. Okay?
Oh, whoa. Shots
Does
fired.
that make sense? Who's calling?
Actually, I'm calling Kyle.
He's not going to answer. He's too busy.
Yeah, I know, but I thought it'd be fun. Also, 100% agree with not being Christianity. Not even close to the same religion.
But people consider it to be what I'm saying.
Just saying that I think your take has some inconsistencies within the take, but overall, I appreciate the sentiment.
I feel like I'm trying
Have you
to
had a
explain
Red Baron pizza? Oh, no, you haven't done your food review yet, but that one's pretty trash.
I've had a bad Red Baron pizza. I grew up with Red Baron.
Ooh,
Not great.
I'm sorry.
No, I
So
would
it's not
never
great,
be-
and that's your standard pizza.
No.
Your
No.
take
I'm
is-
saying
let's
no.
pause
You
for
didn't
a
let me
minute.
finish.
Hold on. I do think we need to. I think we need to address one thing. Is it amazing every single time you have sex with your wife? Like, sex is always good, but like sometimes are certainly better than others.
Oh yeah, just like how some pizzas are better than others.
Yeah, I think we should have taken that into account from the beginning.
I hope that you're not having 10 out of 10 sex with your wife every single time. If you
Well,
are,
You're doing it wrong.
Offended that You hope that.
yeah, like
Lucian, I hope every time is a mind-blowing orgasm for both of you. And a wonderful journey there.
it's just it's just not realistic if you want that. All I'm saying is Red Baron is not a great pizza, but it's still good.
Eh,
It's still a good pizza.
eh.
I still eat it and still enjoy it.
I mean, that's your prerogative.
That is my prerogative, and I also the whole part of the podcast is that I don't care. Isn't that the whole idea?
No, it's the ones that don't actually matter, but you're willing to die on. So you have to be willing to die on this take, and it sounds like you
It
are.
sounds like he's willing. Yeah, I was gonna say,
Fallacies and inconsistencies, included. He is willing, so I respect you
for
that.
like past year, I really don't know what the topic is. I just talk until it all makes sense.
At least you were close this time. But you didn't have it exactly backwards.
Not the opposite. I like pizza. Next.
When are we getting that pizza
take.
video?
I like
People have
pizza.
been asking for it.
Have they? Man, that's got to be on the before I go to Tennessee bucket list.
Sounds good.
Get that guys' night going. I'll send in like $5 to get buy a pizza.
I'm down. Tell me when.
Okay, so my number 3 has to tie into something Kyle said on his former podcast, and his take was that it doesn't matter the quality, but that quantity is better for media. And I have a hard disagree when it comes to the media and specifically like TV shows and movies. Quality is so much better than quantity, and he didn't really give any reasons except you just get more of it, which it is BS. It's like, oh, I can give you crap, but if you get more of it, you're gonna enjoy it, right? No, it's still crap. And I think there's some points where like, okay, I don't like the Rings of Power. That's okay. You can like it, that's okay. But the TV show doesn't change like the canon or source material and all that. So that one, it's okay if it comes out and it's crap. No skin off my nose, whatever. But when it's something like Star Wars, that all the canonical stuff is through movies and TV shows, and they just shovel out complete and utter dung, no, that is trash. It ruins the whole thing they have. The original and prequel trilogies are brought down by the sequel trilogies, and the trash stuff they're pushing. Quality is so much more important than quantity. And I think Hollywood in general is starting to see that. We're seeing a lot of things get cut back. Disney's even said, like, hey, we got to focus more on quality. So I'm sorry, Kyle, but your take that you had on that pod was just slop.
I 100% agree. I was there for that, and I disagreed at the time, but I was like, this is not the time.
I think I disagree.
Ooh.
I think I disagree. I've heard you say this before, Robert, and I think I've already. Do you remember this conversation we've had?
I've had this type of especially specifically Star Wars. I've had that conversation with so many people I don't even know.
Oh, okay.
But that's
I
just
didn't know
an
you
easy
were
one.
evangelist.
There's a group of 3 friends where it seems like every time we hang out, there's always some 30-minute to an hour of just ranting about Star Wars. So
So my Star Wars experience was when they came out with the last 3. The first one, my girlfriend, who is my wife now, bought us really good tickets. And then the other 2, watched with my dad. And so I do agree they sucked, but I think it's something about them that is just fun to be around. Does that make sense?
You like the environment you saw them in more than the movie themselves.
Yeah,
That's what it sounded like.
really, like, I couldn't care about the movie itself, but the fact that it is Star Wars and I got to experience it with people, I think was good. It doesn't mean that I couldn't experience that with somebody with some other movie or franchise, but because it was Star Wars and my dad grew up watching Star Wars, and I don't know, it was just a good experience.
So let's take it. I'm just using it because I used to really care about Star Wars. Now I'm apathetic, which is the worst thing you want for your fans. But let's say Dark Souls are like, all right, we're getting a new Dark Souls game. You get it, and you're like, all right, this is okay, but it's not quite to where it's at. And then they're like, next year we're getting another Dark Souls, and it just keeps on going, and it's crap, and it's like it kind of has the vibe of Dark Souls, but never does. Would you think that's better than waiting 7 years or whatever it takes to get the next Dark Souls game?
So like Star Wars generally like at least had they I don't know. I see what you're saying.
I was just trying to put in the fandom that you really care about.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And that's not affected by because I don't think there's any like novels or anything about canonical about Dark Souls besides what's in the game. That's my main thing because when it's written,
even knows for sure what's canonical in Dark
No.
Souls.
Exactly.
It's just work in archaeology.
So my main argument
Is it made by? I guess is it made by the same person?
I
guess
for the sake of the argument, we'll say no. It was sold off.
Then no.
Okay.
Then that becomes something else. I agree.
Okay.
But if it was made by the same person and they just made some creative liberties, I feel like I would have to respect it to an extent.
So I mean that the same argument could be made for people that were original trilogy fans and they think the prequels are trash. Like that's why I guess it's kind of the same thing. But yeah,
I respect it.
Anything you wanted to add to that, Mike? Since you said you wanted to say something at the time but you didn't.
So I could be very wrong.
What do you think about the
this.
Cursed Child, Mike?
Never read it. It's blasphemy. That being said, I hear the play is wonderful, but I have no interest in reading the book. And not how it would have gone about doing a Harry Potter sequel, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I had a conversation once with Rob's mother-in-law where she mentioned that in the 80s, movies didn't come out as frequently as they do now. Right? Like you had to wait longer between releases, but you had way more just banger after banger after banger because they were worried more about quality than quantity. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, because in hindsight, it might be Rob's him argument a little bit. Like we've had enough time to forget all the flops from the 80s. And so it just seems like the 80s was full of hits. But overall, I would much rather wait a little bit of time and get something incredible than just have something churned out over and over and over and have it become stale, repetitive, boring. Video games, I think, is a great example. Call of Duty. It's an annual release.
I don't think it's
all the
annual
annual
anymore.
release. Oh, it was.
It was.
Well,
yeah. Same with Assassin's Creed.
Yes, Assassin's Creed. All the annual release games are kind of like they just lose their identity and like they stop being good. Whereas if you take a franchise like Dark Souls, where they take a long time to put out the next game, but they're meticulously crafting it, I'll take Dark Souls. I'll take a little bit of Dark Souls over a lot of Assassin's Creed. I'd much rather have a medium amount of good pizza than a ton of bad pizza, even if Lucian doesn't believe in bad pizza.
To play devil's advocate, Hollow Knight has taken how many years to come out?
So long. I have no idea. I discovered the franchise way late into its existence and still have been waiting for a very long time for this game.
Hopefully it's good.
And I want to respect it, right? Like, I want to respect their time, but I guess a whole nother thing is that you shouldn't announce a game when you have nowhere near done with it.
Now, Silksong is a weird... it's a strange example because it started out as DLC, and then they decided to make a game, so they had to announce why they weren't going to put out the DLC they'd already announced. But I agree, it is kind of the opposite extreme, which is always good to look at when you're considering something. Yeah, in this case, it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be churning out a game every year if it can't maintain a certain level of quality. But at the same time, it gets kind of annoying waiting and having no updates for so long for a game you're excited about.
And I will say, the more time in the oven doesn't mean it's going to be better. Look at Starfield. You know, we waited, I think Fallout 4 came out in like 2014, 2015, and Starfield just fell like flat on its face. And it was like 9 years since the last one. And even then, they announced, to your point, Lou, they announced Elder Scrolls 6 along with Starfield, and that's going to be like another 6-7 years away. So it's not like, I'm not saying time equals quality, but usually it takes, to get quality, it takes time. All right, Mike, why don't you bring us around with number 2?
Scrappy-Doo is overly harshly vilified by the Scooby-Doo community at large, and that Scooby-Doo fans forget that Hanna-Barbera characters fade into obscurity all the time, and that Scooby-Doo was on the same trajectory as all the other Hanna-Barbera characters until they brought in Scrappy-Doo and turned around the financial trajectory of the entire series. And while, yes, he is annoying and he is obnoxious, and I don't ever want to go back and watch his episodes, if he did not exist, Scooby-Doo as we know him would probably not exist either.
I mean, he was the villain in that movie, so.
He was. And that was the whole thing was like, that was a fun little joke for the fans, is that everybody hates Scrappy. And I get it, he's annoying, but like, we got rid of him a long time ago. You don't have to watch him. And he was huge. He was hugely successful when they brought Scrappy-Doo out. And it kind of revived the franchise. And, you know, it's a powerhouse now. But it wouldn't be if it wasn't for Scrappy-Doo. He came along at the right time. He, you know, revitalized it, got eyeballs back on the show. And if it wasn't for them, he'd be the same way as Captain Club or the Blue Falcon or Captain Caveman or the Blue Falcon or that freaking go-kart with eyes.
Putt-Putt?
No, that's a humongous entertainment game.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't it, but did you like Scrappy-Doo as a kid?
As a kid, I thought he was great.
Yeah, it's like, I only watched him as a kid, and I like Scrappy-Doo.
Me too.
Yeah, as an adult, kind of annoying. More one note than all the other characters, but he worked as a kid, and he's the reason we have Scooby-Doo as it is.
I was going to say, I know my mom, one of the reasons she really hated that early 2000s Scooby-Doo movie was because Scrappy-Doo was the villain.
Oh, is your mom a big Scrappy-Doo fan?
I guess so. But that was like, I don't like this movie because Scrappy-Doo's the villain.
You guys are like you guys are watching it in the movie theater, and she's like, "What the f?"
That sounds like her.
Yeah, it sounds just like her.
It's like me in The Last Jedi.
Your mother-in-law at Helm's Deep?
It's true. I think she said she used damn instead of the F word, but yeah.
No, it wasn't even damn. So the elves show up to help in Helm's Deep in the movie, and she out loud goes, "What the hell?"
Oh, hell.
What was the question we wanted to ask Kyle?
It was the pizza one.
Hey, Kyle, you're on the podcast.
Oh, hello! What?
Hello. What's up?
Can you put me on speaker or something, or am I just talking?
I can hear him.
Okay, perfect. Your speakerphone into the mic, but you won't be able to hear them. We had a question for you. Can somebody repeat it to me real quick?
Does barbecue sauce count as a pizza, like sauce, or does that count as a pizza?
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Do you count pizzas that have something other than a tomato sauce as their sauce as pizzas?
This is no. I do not agree with this.
Yeah, I'm not
There we
thinking
go.
About that, and thought to consider them not pizzas has never crossed my mind, so I have no reason.
So
to
it's
side
slop,
with,
Lou.
A different team.
This is
I
dumb.
Get it. I get what you mean.
Correct
but
yourself.
This is dumb.
Correct it.
I am not an idiot to think.
Chicken ranch pizza. Is it really pizza? As I'm thinking about it, I don't know.
Oh?
I understand, but I've never once considered that before, so I'm gonna say still good for pizza.
All right, Lou, it's official.
Well,
I never not said it was a pizza. I never not said it was a pizza.
What was the question then, Lou? If we got it wrong,
Cool. You guys are ganging up on me. Good Lord.
sorry for that chaotic bit, but had to happen.
Hold on. Are you calling back on purpose?
I'm calling back on purpose, yeah.
Lou, what was the actual question?
Can you put me on speakerphone real quick?
Yeah,
no.
you're on speaker.
I was thinking about our last top or slop, and there was just an additional thought that I want to put out there. Take it or leave it. This doesn't even have to end up on the episode. I just want to throw this out there.
Episode's already done.
Because I've been thinking about what the difference is between The Rock, Vin Diesel, and Jason Statham, and how I thought Jason Statham wasn't overrated, but The Rock and Vin Diesel were. And I've realized that I think when Jason Statham is on screen, yes, he typically plays the same character, but I really believe him. Like, I believe that that's just who Jason Statham is. That he is this, like, hardcore, badass man that can, like, kick the ass of everybody in the room. There's something about his demeanor, his delivery, his intensity. Like, I believe that he's actually that guy every time, more so than I believe Vin Diesel and The Rock, who kind of tend to stroke their own egos a lot of the time. So
It's just because it's
I know
fun.
this is silly and random, but like I've been thinking about it. I've been trying to figure out what the difference is, and it's just that like Dathan's the guy. Like I believe him. I think that's actually who he is.
All right, respect.
Good
I
to
like
know.
it. That makes sense.
Cool.
It's big. It's
All
only
right, guys,
because he's
see you,
foreign.
No, it's because he's white. Only difference.
I see myself in him for some reason. I don't know.
Do we finish your number 2, Mike? That kind of got
more or
derailed
less.
there.
Yeah, it's all good. It was just scrappy do.
If your team scraps, put it down in the comments. Where's the scrap team at? Scrap up.
Please stop.
Okay.
Hashtag puppy power.
Puppy power.
Hey, don't hashtag that. That might be something completely else. I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Let's look on Twitter.
Yeah, you're not gonna see what you think you're gonna see.
Do I have to turn off safe search? Lou, what's your number 2?
Automatic sinks should be smelted and made into jail cells for people who say they don't wash their hands because their penis is clean. You are all doorknob lickers and should be put in jail.
What I want to know is how much piss is getting on your hands when you pee.
None. My
And
penis
if your
is
dick
long
is
enough.
clean,
I don't need. No, it's not. Well, for one, I'm sorry. Are you done before I defend my?
no, but yeah, that's all. I'm just giving you
Okay,
shit.
cool.
I agree.
Also, you're just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's important to wash your hands. Period. I think that when we decided that in a society, a lot less people got sick. So you should just generally wash your hands. And I don't think if your skin is touching skin, then that's a dirty spot, and you should wash your hands if you know, a lot of the time. I didn't think this would be like me teaching children how to why.
Should I like sing
Why
a
it's
song when I'm
important.
washing my hands?
Yeah, you should sing the birthday song
Wash
twice.
your hands.
The Bear
You
Lake
have to wash
birthday
your
or
hands.
the
Nope.
So that might take a long time.
Regular birthday song twice.
People are like, why is he
Also-
shouting in the bathroom?
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've noticed more and more men not washing their hands after they piss, or even too.
Ooh,
Oh, that's
bold.
disgusting.
That's how you get
And
pink eye.
Yeah, that's not good. I don't want to shake your hand when you got dirty doo-doo on your hands. So no bueno, no thank you. We should already be a society who just washes our hands.
You'd think.
And you think. Also, the reason why I don't like automatic sinks is because I don't want to find the button. I don't want to
don't
be
work
like
half the time.
I don't want to do foreplay to a sink for it to go. That's
Heyo.
ridiculous. And it never does as long as it should. So that's why I don't like automatic sinks.
Dude, that's fair. To piggyback off this, my work has no paper towel of any kind in the bathroom.
Oh,
It's
that's
only
that's
the air
even
dryer.
worse. It's actually worse hygienically for you too. It's the air dryer.
Yeah.
Dryer.
Yeah, it's awful. I literally have to. So it goes. There's two each bathroom, or at least each men's room. There's starting from the far ends out. There's a soap dispenser on each side, and then you move in a little bit, and there's a water spigot, both automatic, and then right next to each other in the middle are two air dryers. And so if I'm the only one in there, I'll wash my hands. Like I'll soap up, wash my hands, and then I'll use both air dryers, one for each hand. And it still takes 30 seconds of just like painstakingly moving my hands like centimeter by centimeter at a proper angle to get all the water blown off, and then turning them upside down and doing it again. That's to get them just dry enough that I can function without having to wipe them on my pants. And yeah, no, the whole automatic that drives me nuts. It's terrible.
It just sounds like you're padding your time at work, but you know.
No, believe me, I'd much rather just grab some paper towel and move on. I pad my work in plenty of other ways. I don't need the bathroom for that.
Fair.
Just
The
'cause
best trick is you take the elevator down, right? And then you send it back up. You take the 10 steps to the mailroom, put the mail in the mail outgoing box. You walk back to the elevator. It's up at 4 now. You have to call it back down. Wait a minute for the elevator to come down. The move.
Yeah, my work just has stairs.
No
I
elevator?
try to take the
No,
stairs, but
no
if
elevator.
if I'm actively trying to pad the time, that's kind of the move.
Wow, that's it's not ageist. What do you call it? Ableist?
Ableist?
Yeah, it's ableist.
Well, there is so we have like a downstairs like office. So if anyone did have like needs for that, they would just get that stairs and we'd go down to them. Or maybe
I thought you were gonna say like we have a cargo
yeah.
elevator.
We have one of those chair rideable chairs up you have to take.
Come on, Grandpa, hop in.
There's an old dumbwaiter we force him into and just slide him down.
I know the audience is wondering, so I just want to inform people. If you look up X hashtag puppy power, you do find a Scrappy Doo thing 3 posts down. And it's because
What are the first two?
dogs. So I've only found
Okay.
one questionable AI art with the hashtag puppy power. So there is a little bit of warning there. But the Ruby Doo, which I guess is Scooby's sister, got a Happy Mother's Day, and it had Scrappy Doo in it. So happy belated Mother's Day to a fictional character. And my mom. And my mother-in-law. There we go. We got them all.
Good job, good job. Came a little late, but you got.
I called her, so we talked.
job.
All right, my number 2. I don't think it's as big of a thing now as, like, say, our parents' generation or anything. I am a firm believer in this. It is that you should work to live, not live to work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big examples is, and it depends on your job, but for a lot of times I'd hear a lot, I can't call in work unless I'm deathly ill, like bedridden. I'm like, dude, that is the dumbest thing ever. Like, you're going to end up hurting yourself. Just call in work, sleep in a little bit. For the most part, if you're like under 40, that's going to be do enough to fix it, and then you'll be back the next day instead of just waiting until you get sicker and sicker, and then you have to take like, a half week off or something. And people stress out too much about work. Like, you're not alive to work. Like, no, you just go work and then enjoy your life outside of it. That's my 2 cents.
I could not agree more. We had this rule in high school that you could call in sick from school, but you had to be in bed all day. And so essentially you would it was, to be fair, it was my parents getting ahead of me being like a sneaky little bugger. But
Don't want to turn like that Rob kid, faking sick.
exactly. Yeah. And so it was like there was 1 week where I was like, man, I feel miserable, but I don't want to have to just stay in bed all day. So I'd go to school anyway so that I could at least have time after school to do what I wanted. And I felt so crappy that I literally dozed through all of my classes and then went home and went straight to bed for like 4 days straight until I got like a top 5 sickest I've ever been. And
What did you have?
I have no idea. I had to get a blood draw
COVID.
though. It was way yeah, no. And I was in such a bad place, and I don't know if we talked about this on the pod. I hate needles. Stay the away from me with your needle. I'm not about it. They were like, okay, we're gonna have to draw blood, and I was like, no. And they're like, okay, come on. And I was like, I'm not gonna let you do it. And my dad was in the car on the way to the hospital to physically restrain me before I was like, it's going to be so much worse for me if I make him finish this drive. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. But yeah, like it's the exact same thing. It's like, no, I'll just push through and push through and push through. And then I think it was like, I ended up being sick through the entirety of midwinter break as a result of that. Like, spent the entire time on the couch in a just trance-like state.
And another thing with that is you're also, not only is it bad for your health, but you're also putting others at risk by going to...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I was so sick, I should not have been there.
There was one time, I think is it middle school or high school? But, like, there's this bug going around, and they had to shut down the school and sanitize it because, like, such a high percentage of the people at school just got sick. And it's probably, some parents like, no, you can't skip school, it's that type of thing, and end up, getting the whole school sick. Take work seriously when you're on the clock, but leave it at the office or, whatever you're doing. There's no reason to add the extra stress to your life. Especially, like, I feel like most people make their jobs a lot more stressful than they need to be. There are some very high stress jobs. I'm not
freaking heart surgeons, pansies, all of them.
Leave it at the door.
Yeah, I think in the nonprofit sector, people feel that way quite a bit because they are serving other people in a closer way than I guess maybe other people will, and so it's more important to them, I guess, in a sense. I don't know. Does that?
Are they saying it's more important that they would take the time off or that they would go to work?
Go to
That
work.
they'd go to work.
They would go to work. Yeah. is because you feel like you're like letting people down. The people that you're serving, you're letting down if you don't show up to work. And that's how you get burnout. And so I do agree that it's important to the world will keep running if you take a day off.
Mm-hmm. And like if someone said you're sick, I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm like, oh, how dare he not come and teach this class? Like, okay, that's fair. I get sick too.
Right. Especially when you're teaching cooking classes, you don't need to be.
Yeah.
Shots fired. I was
Lou,
more of a when
I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
So you have a confession you want to talk about?
It's funny that I teach a cooking class for a living. That's all.
Well, no, I'm just saying because it's even more important that you take time off when you're sick because you're in a culinary setting.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Mike, you're number one.
My number one take that is wildly unimportant, but I will die on the hill for, is that Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban, contains both the greatest foreshadowing and setup of the entire series, while simultaneously in the same chunk of the book having the biggest just editing blunder in the entire series.
Third.
100%. Let me explain. So the book starts off, Harry's doing an assignment. It's on witch burning being totally useless because whenever a muggle actually caught a real witch, they would just freeze the flame and then pretend to be, burned to death. And then later, when he's on the night bus, and Harry's like, how did the muggles not see the bus? Stan Shunpike is like, well, they don't know how to look, do they? The whole front end of that book is telling us, by the way, spoilers for Prisoner of Azkaban, the whole front end of that book is telling us that muggle testimony is useless. They don't accurately tell you what happened in a magical setting. And then for the rest of the book, we know that Sirius Black killed Peter Pettigrew because he did it in front of a bunch of muggle witnesses. And so even after we spent pages upon pages establishing you can't trust muggle testimony, we then proceed to build the entire twist off us trusting muggle testimony. It was brilliant the way she managed to just flashing neon signs, don't trust this, and then gets you to trust it. On the flip side, in the front end of the book, characters talk about the Azkaban guards. I don't like them Azkaban guards. Yeah. And then you get to the first time they use the word Dementors. I literally say it wrong now because of Prison Mike. Dementors, and nobody ever utters the phrase Azkaban guards again. It's just to keep them shrouded in mystery. And all she had to do was have a couple people a couple times just use the phrase the Azkaban guards, and it would have all been fine. But instead, it's just it's this blatant, obvious failure in editing, and it's just it's a clear mechanical thing that they were doing. We're we're going to call them this so we don't actually have to call them Dementors. But Dementors aren't even scary until you know what a Dementor is. It doesn't matter. It drives me absolutely nuts. No, I highly doubt either you are going to disagree with this. I just wanted to rant about those two things.
Yeah, I'm pretty indifferent about it.
Never read the books.
Oh, you should.
I should. They're expensive, man. Those audiobooks are expensive.
Get Audible.
Audible or even Libby. You can just grab them when they're
are hard. It's hard to even because
put a hold. You'll get them eventually.
Eventually. I agree.
Or hop on Spotify and listen to them 20 hours a month at a time.
Because of the ads, or?
No, Spotify has audiobooks now, and it's 20 or 30 hours is free for the month. And then after that, you have to pay extra. But I think it resets every month. And so if you're not listening like a total fiend, if you're just listening casually.
I respect it. Yeah, I didn't even know that you could do those things. That's cool.
This is an educational podcast. We get the hard-hitting topics like how to listen to audiobooks and what constitutes a pizza. Lou, what's your number one?
People who listen to videos or talk on the speaker in public should be publicly spanked.
You're way too soft on that.
Yeah, I didn't know how far I should go.
Losing to
jail,
it, though.
Right away.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Oh, no, because all the people who are not washing their hands are in jail.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so I didn't want to keep putting people in jail.
It's already overcrowded,
Yeah, the prison system in America is not doing very well. So.
All right, fair enough. Burn them at the stake.
Or that, maybe just a spanking.
Unless they're a wizard, then that won't work, or a witch.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I hope it's not a hard topic. I will say though that like technology has come so far, and you can get pretty decent wireless headphones that you could talk into for like $40. So
Yeah.
the fact that you have it on speakerphone is ridiculous.
Well, the other thing is, I've never seen someone talking on speakerphone in public who wasn't holding the phone up to their face. Like
That's
they're
true.
holding it close to their head anyway. Just use it like a phone at that point.
What if they're hard of hearing?
Well, at that point, you should have some kind of hearing aid and like Bluetooth hookup anyway.
They're in denial.
Okay, that's a whole different thing. Also, outliers. We're not talking about the 1% here. We're talking about people walking through the summit, talking on speakerphone, who can just hold the phone 4 inches higher. I agree so passionately. There was a guy who used to listen to music just as he walked out of the summit, and like I think maybe instead of spanking, people should just walk up to them, go meow, and just slap the phone right out of their hands.
Just be a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you get to be an animal in public, why can't I?
Did the summit have like a no music, like audible music policy or anything like
I
that?
think they might have, but I don't remember.
Okay.
The
gym I
doesn't
worked
change
at,
the fact
we
that
did,
it's
and we
just
go yell at 'em.
rude. Well, we never yelled at him. It was just something I couldn't stand.
I'd lay down the law as a supervisor. Said not in my gym. It's about the one thing that get me up from the supervisor chair. My once an hour walk around and then yelling at those people.
Are you good with confrontation, Robert?
Depends, I'd say. I am definitely a lot better with strangers than people I know. So I'm just like, I'm not going to see them again.
That's fair.
Okay, so my number one is pretty simple. I think you guys will also agree, but it is college is not for everybody.
Preach.
There's, especially nowadays in today's society, college is just shoved down like every young person's like throat. They're gonna be like, if you don't go to college, you're not gonna be successful and all that. And then now we're getting to the point where all the tradesmen are starting to retire, and no one knows, like there's very few like apprentices and things like that. And just the whole college higher education is a business. Like first and foremost, it's sad, but they're trying to make money, and so they've had enough propaganda that it's like you have to go to college to get a decent job and all that, and that's just not true. And a lot of people end up in crazy debt, myself included, and most people don't get a good job. I have a pretty decent job, I can't complain, but I know a lot of people that don't, and it's because society has told them they have to go to college to make a living, to be happy and all that. And no, they don't. There's plenty of, trade schools or even just other jobs that you can go into and have a completely fine and happy life. And honestly, you might make more money because you didn't have to go in debt and you're not paying that in like the years. Even if you're not paying debt in college, you're not making really any money. But if you're doing a full-time job during that, you're making that, and then you can like invest it in things like that. So college, yeah, it's for some jobs you need it, but for the most part, it is overhyped. And even South Park has made fun of this whole concept. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but it's a hilarious episode.
I don't want you to end up a deadbeat loser who goes to college, Shelly. You need to stay out of school and instead go out and be taught real skills that will still be profitable in this post-AI universe. So what you
Have not seen the South Park episode, but big agree on the college thing too. And also, man, there's so many things within college that are like, I always use engineering as my example, but if I want to build bridges, right? I'm passionate about building bridges. I want to go get my degree and I want to get educated so I can build bridges. Why the do I have to read Shakespeare? That is not going to help me build a bridge. It just puts money in somebody else's pocket, and it's outrageous.
See, I'm actually okay with some humanities, especially if you are doing engineering, and it's nice to kind of have that GPA buffer. But yeah, I wouldn't want like more than 1 or 2 classes with it. Like I do think it makes you a more well-rounded person.
Yeah,
that's what high school's for.
That's not what high school is.
We had very different high schools.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you can take humanities in high school, right? I read Shakespeare in multiple high school, literature classes.
Mm-hmm. Also,
college, I want to show up. I want to deep dive into the thing I want to learn about, get my credentials, and get out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pay you to have to take a bunch of classes that have nothing to do with what I want to learn. I'm saying you shouldn't have those classes. I'm not saying they shouldn't be available to be taken, but they shouldn't be mandatory.
Mm-hmm. And I should preface this when I say college, I am stating university 4-year degrees. I think community college is also another great option that can get you a lot of great jobs at a fraction of the price and only in 2 years. But there's just a stigma for community college or not going to college that society has that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, but it's slipping away little by little. I keep hearing that more and more jobs are just looking for people who know how to work, and they do not care as much about your educational background.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Like, and one thing I think is interesting, and I found it true for engineers. I'd always hear this from people that graduate. They're like, really, engineering college, it's not so much teaching you how to be an engineer, but it's teaching you how to think like an engineer, which I can agree with to some extent. I mean, obviously, with, oil, you're going to need to know a lot of the basic stuff, but for the most part, it's just teaching you how to, like, think like that. And they can't teach everything in 4 years, so they're just like, all right, here's how you fix most problems, the general conceptual stuff, and then from there you go and do your specialization. So even that is, like, not the best thing. And I think a lot of times most jobs that require a degree can be, like, I think experience should be, like, equivalent to, as long as it's, it's like, you're doing something similar. I think, like, 5 years of experience should be equal to someone fresh out of college if they've been working and doing something similar. But,
well, and honestly, 5 years of experience is probably better in a lot of cases than a college degree.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would much rather hire somebody who's had 5 years in the field and understands how everything works than somebody who's fresh out and is going to have to, like, learn to transition from university to professional life.
What do you think, Lou?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about it a lot. So I will say the best thing about college, and that I think a lot of people would agree on,
The white women.
is the community. Is the community that you're around. So it's really going to be the only time when you're in college, to my experience, is that you're going to be around the same age people, and they're going to be somewhat like-minded, especially if you're going to talk to people in your not your profession, but in your major. And so I think there's something special about that. I think that there's no place like it, as far as that I can tell. And some people might see that special, and some people may not. But
is that community worth $30,000 a year, though?
No, nothing is worth the amount of money that you're gonna have to spend. I was tricked into thinking that I was gonna play college football. I mean, professional football, if I went to college. That for somehow I was going to be good enough to play. And so in my head, I was like, what's 4 years of debt if I can get to play for the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
Or even one contract could pay for that. But I was not good enough. And I was never going to be good enough.
Have you heard Pat McAfee talk about this?
No, I did not.
He took out 2 sets of loans because of, with that exact thought in mind. He was like, well, I'm either going to come out of this with massive debt, just like everybody else, or I'll make it into the league and I can pay it all off in an instant.
Yeah, it works for some people and it doesn't work for me. Maybe I should
it doesn't work for more people than it works for.
Yeah.
And I had a similar mindset, like, this is a high-paying career field. I'll take on debt and then I'll just live cheaply the next, for a few years and get most of it paid off. And then this little thing called COVID hit and just threw off all those plans. But it ended up working out in the end. I wouldn't be where I would be now if it was, not for that. So God has his ways of working stuff out, even when I don't have it planned.
Yeah, I say this all because, like, background, I was very bitter at my college. I think they did me a disservice, and there were times where I wish I never went to college. But I met my wife in college, and I met my best friend, who is a psychopath, but he's still my best friend in college.
He was talking about me.
Oh, you guys met in college? Wow, how'd that happen?
Yeah, I met neither of you guys in college.
I think the whole community thing, it's definitely a lot. Also, we did meet in college. We worked, summer camp together during college age. And I went to your college, sir.
We went to the same camp.
I went to your college, sir. But I do think community is possible. It's definitely a lot easier when you're living on campus. But, I mean, Mike, you seem like you had a good community in KZoo that was all around the similar age group and everything. So I think you're going to definitely have to work for it more if you don't go to college. But I do think it is possible to still get those friendships.
It was a fun community.
I'm not going to say it was a healthy community.
Hindsight, I was going to say, I don't know that good is the word I would use in hindsight, but I enjoyed it.
But a lot of people that go to college are like looking for that party lifestyle. So
that's true. It's not, I'm sure 100%.
you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you guys. Be sure to check out our Discord. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please give us a 5-star review, and we'll read it off on the air if you leave a comment. Other than that, hope you guys have a great time. We'll catch you next week.
Adios, amigos.
Judy Neutron.
Really?
I don't know about her.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Slop.
Yeah.
No. Look, I'm not saying she's as attractive as the other ones, but if you pay attention to the dialogue between her and
Part of me
if
wants
you
to-
pay attention to the dialogue between those parents, she freaky, dude.